If you've ever thought that making powdered milk can only be achieved in a factory, then you're not alone. I also had the same thought until I decided to give it a try. And yeah, it was amazing. So it's very easy to put together, honestly. It takes just about two ingredients and a lot of patience, actually. Because what you want to do is you want to reduce the milk. Now I have about 5 liters of milk here, and I just poured it into a clean pot and I started to simmer, or I started to cook the milk. I'm going to keep stirring it so that it doesn't burn. Now I keep stirring this for almost 3 hours until everything reduced to like a paste or a jelly consistency, or a pudding. Yeah, I think it would be a pudding. A pudding would be the best way to explain what the final results should look like. And you have to reduce the heat in between. Sometimes you might increase the heat, and then when it boils up, you reduce the heat so that it doesn't spill over. Now, one other thing I do is I can put my spatula on top of it, and even though it's boiling, it will not boil over. And this is what you want the milk to look like at the end of the day. So, after about 3 hours of cooking the milk, this should be the final result. You have to be careful not to allow the milk burn. You don't want that because it will change the color and the taste. So you want to make sure that the milk doesn't burn. That's why you have to keep a close eye on it to ensure that it doesn't burn. Now, I have cooked this and I've been cooking it, and this is what the final result looks like. I'm going to turn off my heat or turn off the stove, and I'm going to spread it out in a tray. You want to spread it as thinly as possible in a tray, and you're going to allow it to dry on one side for about 3 hours. Now you can either spread it out in a tray or you can spread it out on a parchment paper. For me, I think a parchment paper does the job better because it helps it to dry faster. So this is what you want it to look like. You want to spread it as thinly as possible. Then after about 3 hours, it should look like this. It should be dried on one side. Then you're going to just scrape it off from the tray and allow it to dry again for another 3 hours. You want to put this under sun or under a fan, or if you have a dehydrator, you want to use that. I don't know if putting it in the oven will work because you don't want the milk to burn. So maybe that's going to work. I don't know. I did not try that. But one thing I did was I put it under the sun and allowed it to dry for about 6 hours in total. Now I just spread it out so that it dries on the other side, and you want to see it as dried as this. When you rub it on your finger, it should just crumble. Now you're going to put it in a blender, and you're just going to blend away until it is completely smooth. Once it's smooth, you're going to turn it into a strainer, and you're going or a sift, and you're going to sift this out. The reason for doing this is in case if there were any bits or any part of it that did not turn out to be very smooth, so that the milk or the powdered milk will be very, very smooth. And yeah, that's how to make it. And once you've sifted it out, you're going to add sugar. Now, there are two ways you can do this. You can blend the sugar alongside the milk when you're blending it, or you can just put the sugar in the milk after you have blended it. Now, I put 3 tablespoons of milk of sugar in the milk, and I just mixed everything up. And this is the final result. There's nothing special. There's no added ingredients, just the milk and the sugar. And even if you're somebody that is diabetic or you want to cut down on sugar, then you can skip that part of it. And the final part is to make sure to put it in an airtight container. And that's how you make powdered milk, as simple as ABC.